Welcome, Creeptastics, to our Meet the Creeps night. And we are chatting with Craig Ahrens and David Espinosa of CRA Entertainment. And they are filmmakers, actors, directors, writers, producers. They do it all, from what I know. And maybe I don't. That's what the impression I'm under. So I did want to have them on and just talk about, you know, filmmaking and how they get into it and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And Wendy, if you have any questions as we go, just go ahead and speak up. And then if anyone else joins in, I'll tell them the same thing. And I also do have pulled up your website. So if it works, you know, I can share a screen and we can show a couple of trailers.
Oh, cool.
Like to do that. Okay.
Oh, very cool.
All right. So I don't know if one of you wants to go first or if you join, you know, together answer questions, however you want to do it. But I guess my first question is, how did you get into filmmaking and how long ago? Because I think you've had other lives previously doing other things before this. Is that right?
That'd be a good question for Mr. Espinosa, also known as Avalon.
I'll get back at you. Anyway, since I was a little boy, I wanted to be an actor. I spent every weekend at the movies. My brother and we did odd jobs all summer long just so that we could do that. I always thought, what a way to be remembered after you're dead.
It'll never go away.
It'll never go away.
Yeah.
And so I just always thought that'd be so cool. But, you know, coming from where I came from, which is pretty hard knocks, not such an easy task to do.
Did you grow up in California or somewhere else?
I grew up in California, partly in Denver, and all over Denver. I went to almost seven different elementary schools.
Wow.
As a kid. That'll tell you how we were moving around, and ended up in San Jose, East San Jose. And that's the first time I ever gone to a school for 3 years in a row. So it was.
They just had an earthquake there today.
Yeah, I heard Allen Rock Park. I love that park. I got married there. I've been married 45 years. We got married in the park, a hippie wedding.
Wow, congrats.
My wife, I loved it. I loved the park. But anyway, that's always what I wanted to do. And life says, well, you may want to do that, but you're going to have to pay some rent and, you know, buy some clothes and food and crap. And
yeah.
I ended up doing other things, working for the phone company, being a cop, to Hawaii, managed a restaurant, and came back and decided I wanted to study theater and get serious. And at the age of 24, I went to college. And
you did all that before the age of 24?
Yep.
Like
I was working by the time I was 16. I had a full-time job. I was offered a full-time job by Pac Bell at the age of 17. I hadn't even graduated from high school yet. They said, all you need is a GED, a good enough diploma. So I went down to the old school area and said, hey, I don't need to wait to graduate. Just let me take this test. I did that. It's a series of exams, but I did them rather rapidly. And they hired me. So by the time I was 19 years old, I was already living on my own. I had my own apartment, my own cars, my own way, everything, and had been. So, you know, life was like that. But I was fortunate enough to realize that I could do maybe other things. So I left. I ended up moving to Hawaii. My future wife, came and joined me. And from there, I just started getting diligent. I went back to school and I graduated with 2 degrees from UCLA in 1980, 4 years. I started in 76 and ended up in 1980, straight 4 years. Theater department, I loved it. I was doing what I liked doing, but I was doing plays, a lot of theater, acting, directing, writing, getting my own work done, getting paid to do it. But I couldn't support a family or had no real future there that I could see. So I ended up in law school, did that, got a law degree. During that time, I did a couple television series, got involved with a jazz band for about 10 years. And after all that happened, and working in law for about 28 years and doing this stuff off and on, I just quit, decided, moved back to Hawaii. While I was over there, it was great. But in 2008, the economic collapse came, boom, killed our businesses. I had a real estate practice and a internet cafe called Beaners. And that collapsed. So I ended up moving back and decided I'm going to do what I've always wanted to do. And I got an agent again and started up. And fortunately, a few years down the line, I met Craig. I was working on a movie, and this guy that was working on it kept telling me about this gentleman, saying, "You got to meet this guy. He reminds me of you. He's really serious. He likes doing this stuff." I said, "I got enough crazy people around me." He goes, "Oh, you got to meet him. You got to meet him." I said, "I don't know." For over a year, this guy stayed on me, Todd Chase. And that's how long it took God to reach me. A year of him saying, "Todd, don't give up. Dave will listen any minute here. Just keep at it." And finally, I called him just to shut Todd up. And like that, I was like, I think I could work with this guy. This is totally weird. And here we are 4 films later, 5 years down the line.
Yeah.
And I feel blessed to have met him. He's not just inspirational and motivational, but he's just a damn good friend. So, God brings people into your lives for a reason.
That's
I
right.
agree.
Yeah.
Craig,
right.
what's your background like?
Well, mine is not nearly as entertaining as David. That's why out of the gate I had to throw him under the bus, because we needed a good icebreaker, and that certainly is not me. But I came into this business, Gina, later in life. I mean, any later I would have been dead. That I've been doing this now for 10 years. I was a mortgage banker for years. And much like David, I was a banker for 25 years, and 2008 hit. And 2008, it just impacted everybody. I mean, it was brutal. And so excuse me, in the end of 2007, and we shut down on December 31st, 2007. So going into 2008, we had already pulled the plug. And so I essentially had semi-retired, not by choice. That's kind of how things played out. And then in 2011, a good friend of mine who was an actor, we were talking once at the gym, and what I didn't realize is Lewis had an acting school that he also taught acting. And so he invited me up to his class in Santa Monica. I live in Orange County. So I went up there on a Monday evening, just expecting to see actors do their thing, which I did, and I enjoyed it. It was just kind of fun to watch them, do skits and whatnot. So the next day he called me and said, "So what do you think?" I said, "What do I think about what?" And long story short, he kind of forced me, if you will, to give it 90 days. And I was a single dad for years and years and years. So I always told my kids, be open to possibilities. And if the first words out of your mouth are no or negative responses, not a lot of good could possibly come in. And so that's how it started. And so I found myself at the, what was I then? I was what, 57, because I'm 67 now, so 57. And so at the tender lad-like age at 57, I found myself in an acting class. And what was interesting is, at that stage of life, you've kind of worked the bugs out. You know what you do well, and the things you don't do well, you just don't do. So here I am in an acting class with some really good actors. And like, if there's a bar of sucking, like sucking is here, I was off the chart. I mean, it was like at a really high level. So my immediate goal, it wasn't so much to be, oh, I can do this. This is so easy. No, it was kicking me in the ass. But my goal was, I wasn't looking to be like, the best actor in the class because I knew how realistic that was. But I didn't want to be the guy like, oh, I have a scene with him.
Yeah.
Well, no, he sucks, right? And so that's how it started. And I was like a one-trick pony that um, I knew what I could do, and I didn't try to be all things to all people. And I started booking roles. If you look at my resume on IMDb, you'll see all film except for one television, and that was Criminal
Criminal
Minds.
Minds. I saw it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And so I was like a one-trick pony, but I wore the hell out of that trick, and so, but I realized in my age category, living in Orange County, to drive up to LA for an audition. And for me, an audition was like a job interview. I mean, I had the same job for years and years and years, and it was just uncomfortable. You walk into a small room and people just stare at you and you have to do I just did not enjoy the whole auditioning experience. But that's what you have to do. You just don't get a role without doing that. And but I wanted to become a filmmaker because driving up for an audition from Orange County can easily be 2 hours up. You have to wait at least 2 hours. You're talking potentially 6 hours, and the odds are stacked against you. So I thought, you know what? I get it. I have to do this for now, but I really want to be a filmmaker. I'm used to, let's say, with my skill set, 2 minutes around us, David is creative, and like I'm a creative who's faking it, but I'm in my DNA. I'm a P&L guy. I'm a budget guy. That's just kind of hard coded in. So I started doing a series of short films because I wanted to learn that side of the business. Wanting to do feature films. That's the only thing that really made any sense to me. And then our mutual friend Todd Chase. Oh, you have to meet David Espinosa. And see, I first met David as an attorney because in lending, we would never do anything without getting a legal opinion. So I first met David as an attorney. And then we started talking, and I thought, oh my gosh, he has a degree from UCLA School of Drama. Are you kidding me? Like, are you like the only attorney on the planet that has a drama degree? And so we started talking about the film. That was Evil Down the Street. I thought I had a script. And so I sent it to David to read, right? And so he came back with a lot of notes, but he was really cool how he worded it. Like he tried to make it really suggestive, but his suggestions were just like a lot better than what I had. And so you can only say thank you so long, right? And so I said, you want to be down here as co-writer? He goes, oh, I'd love to. And I was initially going to direct that film. And I said, with your background, David has written screenplays and he's directed, like he mentioned, plays. And I said, you want to direct this? He goes, oh, I'd love to. And there's a role in Evil Down the Street for Father Bob. You know where this is going, right? I said, would you like to play that role? I'd love to play that role. So that's how it started. And, and I agree with David, everything he said, that it's one of those things that, in my business in lending, now this was before he had Zoom and all of this, that you really had to listen to people, how they sounded, and you form opinions. And so we did all of this over the phone. David and I did not meet until one day prior to shooting Evil Down the Street. So it's very serendipitous.
Really?
God certainly
Wow.
played a role in this, but that's our humble beginnings. And 4 films later, we're still doing our thing. Yeah.
So like when you wrote the script, had you studied up on how to write a script, or you had taken a
No,
class? You just
no.
just got out a piece of paper and started writing a script.
No, it wasn't quite to that level, but not far from it. That I downloaded a free script writing program, right? And
Okay.
so that's what I did, and I did like a couple of pages a night, and so I think like the next day, what happened next in the story, and so that's it, and it was formatted such that at least maybe it looked good, but everything else was kind of like jacked up. But yeah, it was in right format. But yeah, I just started writing like a page or two an evening, and eventually, I thought, well, just mathematically, 3 or 4 months, I'll be done, and that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, but
And
in
you were,
defense,
if David had
defense of
come
Craig.
along and you were going to try to be the director of it, did you know how to direct? Or I mean, you just like figure I'll just see what looks good, and I don't know, how do you figure that you're gonna do that?
Well,
Unless you have,
yeah, I mean, well, you have to kind of understand my personality. Like the same guy who never wrote a script before is gonna wrote a script, right? So at the time I thought, and that's why I came into this business. I was glad I came into this as an actor. And
Mhm,
also in my age category, I've seen a lot of films and movies. I've always enjoyed going to watching movies and films that suck, right?
mhm,
So I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. But watching, let's say, David on set, Evil Down the Street, I never even told him this, I don't think, that at some point during the shoot, I found it laughable thinking, oh yeah, I so could have not done this. And it would have been, pardon my French, it would have been a real shit show if I had directed it. So again, God stepped in, and there was a reason why David and I met, and a really good reason why he directed. And I said, go David, go from the sidelines.
so did you both always think that you would be doing like horror type movies? Mystery, suspense type horror movies, or did you just kind of do one and you like that genre, or?
Well, when I met Craig, he had that script. And he told me the script was based on a real incident and a family that he's known for a number of years. He had been working with some other people collaborating on the script, and they were into the fantastic. And so they were writing in, the woman crawls the wall of the ceiling and walks backward downstairs and all this weird shit, right? And they didn't need none of that. It was creepy enough, just the bare facts about what really happened. And that's all I did to change the script. I just wrote out all that fantastical crap and told Craig, we don't need this. This is why. Um, I got involved in the horror films because that's what he had. He had a
Mhm.
horror script. I love movies. I watched every kind of movie you can imagine.
Mhm.
Foreign films. Gosh, I watched all kinds of documentaries. I watched this one season about the Turkish Empire in the 1200s that went on 5 seasons, 87 episodes per season. I watched it 3 times. Now, why do I do that? Well, because I'm married to a woman that really loved it. But aside from that, it teaches us something.
Yeah.
And what I've learned, there's no difference between films, really, except how we are going to produce the conflicts, the heroes, and the villains.
Hmm.
So it doesn't matter if we're doing a supernatural film, a Western, a comedy, a serious drama. The only ones that are a little out there, and they even have the same formula, all the superhero movies.
Hmm.
They have the same formula. So I'm just blessed and feeling so happy that I'm doing films. I mean, each one of our films that we put out, The Crumbs is far different from The Evil Down the Street,
Hmm.
as is Demon Fighter and Love and Quarantine. Love and Quarantine's a comedy of our
Yeah.
current times. But we think it has a lot of fantastically horrific aspects to it. So we also know that the horror genre has the best fans, the most devoted,
Agree. Hmm.
oh,
They really do.
the most devoted fan base everywhere.
Yeah.
And they don't care if you're noted. They don't care if you're an A-listed actor. They don't care about none of that. They just want to have a good film,
Hmm.
period.
Right.
And, who am I? Who are we? We're just two old guys that are having a good time making these films, but we don't do it as weekend warriors. We're very serious about our approach. I'm a very planning type of guy. I just can't go out and jump into something. Even if I'm going to be in a fight, I'm thinking about how I'm going to handle it. So it's, doing this and doing it with somebody like Craig was just the perfect opportunity for me, because everything I like doing, he's not all that thrilled about. And everything he likes doing, I'm not all that thrilled about. So it really
Yeah.
works well, but yet we both love the creative aspects.
Mhm.
I may come up with ideas, but I'll sit down and we run them by. You know, we talk them out. Demon Fighter was written, I actually wrote it the first time with me as the lead. And then I thought, and I told Craig one day, and Craig thought, yeah, this is good, let's do it. And then one day I called him up, I said, you know what, man, nobody wants to see my old butt. You know, let's bring in some young guy, you know, who's handsome and, you know, got it all good. So we found John Azuna.
Right.
And that's how that developed. But we've been so blessed to have so many talented people working with us.
Hmm.
I mean, cinematographers and actors and all costumers and set decorators. And each one looks at their individual job as the most important job. I
Right.
love that. I love that. That's dedication to your art.
Mhm.
You know, we don't do art to please people. I don't, and Craig
Mhm.
doesn't either. We do art because we have to. It's in us. It's going to find a way out. When I wasn't acting and directing, I was painting. When I wasn't painting, acting, directing, I'm playing music. When I'm not doing that, I'm writing. It finds its way out.
Mhm.
And I'm so glad that I've had this opportunity, that I have this opportunity to be in the film industry. We're not big time players, but we're players.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
more than a lot of people can say that have tried to be in it.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
This is true.
Mhm. And then Craig, what about you? Are you a big horror movie lover or all movie lover?
Yeah, it seemed like what David said, I would say all movies. And I just had a real desire for Evil Down the Street to tell this family story because what always drew me to it, well, one, I knew them, I knew the story well, of course. And
So they were like
secondarily,
neighbors or something, or
yeah, I had known them for years. And what always struck me about their story, they could have truly been anybody. It's just an ordinary family. And that's why I said evil down the street, because you think you know your neighbors, but you don't always know necessarily what's going on. And so
Mhm.
that always just struck me like, their neighbors have no idea what is going on. And if there's one, there's more. So I really felt compelled to get that story out there because, you had stories like Poltergeist, although that is, based somewhat or based on true events.
Mhm.
And then you have The Exorcist. So, this wasn't going to be necessarily one of those sensational stories, but it was their story and it was important to them to get told. And then after that, like at this point, David and I talk about, let's say, a horror film, it's like, okay, well, we've kind of done that. Um, Love and Quarantine, like David says, a comedy. So we're not pigeonholed into any one thing. Now, growing up, David and I, we both grew up on the horror classics, Frankenstein, the
Mhm.
werewolf. So, Alfred Hitchcock. So certainly a rich fabric as far as those films. But for us to be just kind of labeled like, oh, those two old horror filmmaker guys, they might just say we're just two old filmmakers, but not necessarily the horror part.
I like how you insert old into almost every time you describe yourselves.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
We
we
need
do
to.
that on
Terrible. You're
purpose.
not old.
Well, age is there regardless, and it's a reality. Your mental state and frame of mind is a whole separate thing. And one of the things we try to get across to people is it's never too late.
That's right.
You can do this. You can do this. As crazy as that sounds, you can
Yeah, I
do
think
this.
that's great, especially for
Well,
me because I'm 55 and I feel like I still don't know what I want to do with my life.
and like I
And
like I said, Gina, is that I didn't go into this business until I was 57. And
See?
so anybody who says I'm too old, I'm too thin, I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too skinny, stop telling yourself that.
Mhm.
If you want to convince yourself of something like that, then go for it. But don't, just Yeah, I'm living proof that no, it's you're not too old unless you want to succumb to that line of thinking.
Mhm.
I'm working on that. I turned 60 this year,
Good for
Yeah, so
you.
so
you're good for you, Wendy.
I'm working on it.
You don't
Right
look like
on.
you turning 60 anywhere, dear.
No.
Thank you. The portrait's up in the attic.
What do you
That's
do,
good.
Wendy, or what are you interested? Are you a creative person, or do you do other things besides your normal job, or?
I am a professional doll maker
Okay.
and cloth dolls, but I have a degree in costume design.
Ah,
Awesome.
And I'm working on getting back into my art stuff. Yeah.
Good
I
for
have an
you.
interesting story for you. When we were shooting the Crumbs, we have a character, her name's Victoria Crumb, and she's very Victorian. Okay. And she has these collection of dolls, you know, the glass type dolls that the dress made, old Victorian dolls. So we needed to find one. My wife and I go on these walks all the time around the same area and whatnot. And one day we're out there and we're talking about, hey, where do you think we should go to the Segunda, you know, the secondhand store? Okay, maybe we should go to the Segunda, see if we can find, you know, some of those dolls or whatnot. She goes, yeah, okay. She goes, hey, what's that box right there? A big box, just sitting there like in the dirt off the side of the road. True story. We walk up to it, we open it up. Guess what's full of? Those dolls, Victorian dolls, all of them brand new in boxes. There were 6 of them.
You're
Yeah.
We're like,
kidding.
No.
this is weird. We took them home,
No.
and of course we used them in the show. I still have them. They're out in my garage. Okay, I decided to keep them, and you never know. Somebody may think this is the greatest film I ever saw. I'd give $1 million for one of them dolls. I got the doll.
Yeah, we have
But
the
leave them in the
dolls.
garage just in case.
But leaving
That's
them in
right.
the garage just in
Yeah.
case.
Yeah. Well, I totally understand what you're saying about, you know, kind of that need to create or whatever, because I have always, for the most part, worked in healthcare, which was never really what I wanted to do, but that's just where I ended up. But then, you know, a couple of years ago, I started with this Creeptastics thing, and then I started I've always been into photography and all that. So I learned Photoshop, and now I like to really make, you know, photos, creepy composites and stuff like that. And like when you're doing it, it's like the hours fly by, and I just want to do it all the time. And if I'm not doing that, I want to like paint creepy dolls, or I want to, you know, make, I don't know, all these different things. I just like to, I have to always be making things. And it's just when that's the kind of person you are, it's just like you
Well, the human being
have to
was
do it
made
to
to
be
create.
happy.
You know, we were born to create. I mean, just think about it, replicating ourselves. Okay, that's the first stage of that creation. Ideas that come up in our heads. Every single person on the planet is an artist. There's a different degree of art within them, but they are artists. And I think to deny that is to suppress part of your humanity that brings joy. The expression of art, even if nobody else likes it. I've done stuff I go, that's so cool. And somebody looks at it, what the hell is it? Man, it looks like a turkey. I go, well, it doesn't matter. But I feel good about it.
Mhm.
You know, people ask me about selling my art. I don't know, I've given maybe 40, 50 paintings away. I very seldom will sell a piece. It just seems weird to me. I don't know why. Not that I don't need the money, but it's just weird to me. You know, it's like music. I play music and I write, and I don't sell that. You know, if somebody who likes my poem, great. If they don't, that's okay. But I think everybody should be exposed to art as a child. They should be exposed to music, to painting of some sort, to movement of some sort, whether it's dance or anything else. And that really will help them develop their own humanity. I so sincerely believe that.
I do too. When my kids were very young, or even before they're born, we moved back to a very small town. But I said to my husband at the time that we were just for sure gonna make sure our kids went to theater shows and concerts and all this other stuff, because that's like so important to me that they have that background, you
bet.
know, have those experiences. And I think
Yeah.
it's
You bet.
a big part of them. So what, can you tell me kind of a short version, maybe, I don't know, of what a producer does? Because I've never really understood what all a producer does. Is it like encompassing like over everything, or what does a producer do?
Yeah, anything that you would see in a film from beginning to end would be the likes of what David and I do. Now that's part of it. Then you have to go into the round of distribution. So what that all looks like specifically on the front end is all the pre-production stuff, which David can talk on that. And that's the secret of a good production, because if you start off on the wrong foot, like many things in life, it only goes downhill from there. So the more time you spend on the front end, pre-production, and what goes into that will help to ensure your production, shooting your film, goes well. Because even with that, you think you have it all going the right direction. Things happen. We've had editors who've come to us, on set editor, that have lost an entire day's footage. So you have things that go on, the unforeseen, but it won't necessarily be your death, if you will, from the standpoint of pre-production. So David, maybe you might want to touch on that, because that's really David's side of the ledger more than myself.
Well, I think the most important part of pre-production is the budget planning and realizing what your costs are. And the only way to realize that is to take your script and to break it down. You break each scene down, give it a title. You ever notice you go rent those movies and on the back you see a list of all the scenes? They already did it for you. You just copy that. And they give a title to each scene. Like Joan finds Henry, right? Henry leaves the dog, whatever it is. Well, what I do is prepare a grid that goes across left to right, title here, the grid comes across, and it talks about, is it interior, exterior, is it night, is it day? All these different considerations, and we just check the box. Who are the actors? We list the actors. What are the wardrobe needs, the prop needs? How about the set? Is it nighttime, daytime, interior? Is it a car? What is it? Where are we? All those things. So at a glance, you look at that and you know where you're at. Now, what else it does, it's giving you an idea of your costs immediately. What's it going to take to put this thing on? So we know how many actors we have. We know all the locations where they're going to be, and we just do the math. If let's say, for example, we're paying each actor $100. Of course, we wouldn't. That's just not right. But let's say we did that, okay? Then if we had 10 actors, that's $1,000. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And now, okay, if we have a 10-day shoot and they're with us for 2 meals each day, what's the cost of those 10 actors plus the crew, which is probably another 10 people, plus Craig and I? So we're looking at 20-something people that we feed per day, anywhere from 2 to 3 meals. What's that cost? We guesstimate all those. So the most important part for me as a producer in putting together this whole project is understanding where your money's going to be spent. You notice we haven't talked about where to get the money.
Yeah, that's what was entering my mind.
Yeah, we're just talking about what to do with it. And here's why that's more important, what to do with it, than where to get it. Because you're not going to find where to get it unless you know what to do with it. Because these people who have the money aren't going to give you any money unless they know what the hell you're going to do with the money.
Yeah.
So you have to bring to them a business plan. This is the word that kills all the indie filmmakers. Oh, a business plan. Oh, it's not a horror film, is it? Attack of the business plan. Yeah. And in that business plan, you synopsize what you're doing, why you're doing it, where you're doing it, who's doing it, how you're going to do it, and the costs associated with it. Our first film, Evil Down the Street, we had done that so exhaustively that before the film was even finished in the script form, we'd already had people who wanted to invest in the film, simply because and I'm not patting my back, because Craig and I had pre-planned this thing in that fashion. So they knew what the producing aspect of it was going to look like. Everything else is just gravy and ice cream and pretend.
Mhm.
The money is not. So they want to know what you're going to do. The second part is knowing what your shoot schedule is, creating that shoot schedule. And oftentimes it's not in order. Scenes 1 through 5, the first day, then we do scenes 10, 11, 23, 64, and 1 the
Right.
next day. We're jumping all over the place, but we're really not, because locations and actors are probably the same.
Mhm.
We're making the best use of their time,
Mhm.
especially if you have a high-end listed actor that you're paying a hell of a lot of money per day. You want to
Right.
make sure you shoot all his scenes in the first day, second day, and get him out of there.
Mhm.
So once you've done all that, then you got a good picture, a producing plan, a production plan as to what it's going to be like. Now, the key is meeting it. We've come on time, on budget for every one of our films. And for Craig and I, it's not always easy. I mean, we were 12, 14 hours, 16 hours, we're doing the Crumbs. We had an 18-hour day one day.
Yeah.
It was just horrendous. It was horrendous. And the crew, the cast and crew, I can't tell you how you need to pay homage to them. They make the film,
Mhm.
not the director, not the producer. It's all those folks and their efforts, non-stoppable,
Yeah.
what do it. The beginning of the Crumbs, if you watch the Crumbs, the opening scene, it was actually, I think it was like 6 separate scenes. We put them all together. I got numerous cameras, set them in various places, starting in the back seat of the car. We shot the entire scene starting in the back seat of the car, going down the road, turning into where the place is, getting out of the car, going to the front door, having the people upstairs hear them. And we see in all this now. Come down the stairs, they storm the front door, they capture everybody, they knock out Lenny, who comes up the stairs, put him down, they grab the girl, chase her upstairs, all kinds of stuff. One take.
Wow.
One take. We rehearsed the
crazy.
crap out of it because we were running out of time. And I told all the actors and everybody, I said, look, we can do this. Just think of it as like a play.
Mhm.
That's all. And just make sure you meet your mark. It was so horrendous that at the end of that shot, everybody just exploded. Wow! You couldn't believe it. You couldn't believe it. So when you watch the Crumbs, take note of the opening scene and then tell yourself, they did that in one shot, one take,
Yeah.
starting with the
I
camera.
have seen the Crumbs and Evil Down the Street, and then the Demon Fighter.
Demon
Yes.
Fighter.
I watched that one night, but it was really late, and I have to admit I fell asleep on the couch. Not because it's
Oh,
bad.
wine.
I probably had a little too much of this, and then I was super tired. But
Sure.
so I have to go back and rewatch that one. I don't think I've
There you go.
seen Love in Quarantine yet. I don't think I've seen that one.
It's a comedy. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Not because we did it, but because these actors kicked it right in the butt. NJ Brown and Jeannie Young, they just
Yeah.
brought it to it. It's good. And I'll tell you, when we were shooting the film, I had several actors come up to me and say, "Isn't this supposed to be a comedy?" Because I don't shoot comedy for the joke.
Yeah.
I'm not doing pratfalls and some crap like that. We shoot it for the reality of the situation. And I said, "Yeah, just hang in there. You'll see. And it is funny. It works. So proud of those two actors. They really put a lot of time into it.
Mhm.
So I think you'd enjoy that. Watch it with a partner. I think you'll get the most fun out of it because it's about two people who love each other and have been with each other for like 20 something years. And then due to the lockdown, the quarantine, they have to now tolerate all those little idiosyncrasies where before they could just go to work.
Yeah.
Right.
Now they have to deal with that shit, right? Come
Yeah.
around day 43, it's like, I'm gonna kill it. If she don't kill me, I'm killing her. So we think it's funny. So, but it's good to watch with a partner. A lot of people, when we did the premiere, afterwards were sitting there going, "That sounded like her. You were the one like that."
Luckily during COVID, my husband and I were both essential workers, so we didn't
Oh, there you
have to
go.
deal with each other too much.
Yeah, lucky you.
I'm gonna share screen and hopefully come up with the movie trailers I want to pull up here.
Oh, cool.
Let's hold on a second.
So Wendy, are you still making dolls?
Yes,
Awesome. What do you do with them?
I try to sell them. I do cloth dolls, and now I'm trying to work with air dry clay
Okay,
and have
cool.
so that they can stay on their own.
Wow.
So I
Reminds
do
me
a
There's-
lot of
Doll
sorry?
making is such a huge thing right now. I mean, there's so many cool artists out there that make these dolls, and
it's
Wow.
coming back.
it's
It's coming back. We have
do
the
you make
golden
like
age.
creepy ones or just all kinds, or
Well, mine's are kind of creepy cute.
Mhm.
Some people do. Some people-
Creepy can be
creepy
cute.
Yeah, creepy cute. People will look at them and go, huh, oh, that's really interesting. But then they'll buy it.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know,
right
so
on.
if I can make them laugh or they get a little bit uncomfortable, but they see the humor in it or the
Mhm.
cuteness in it, then I've done my job. Some people are
Very
just
cool.
creepy, and that's great because I love some of that. But I don't mean to be creepy cute, but they just, I guess my cuteness comes out in the creepiness. I don't know. But I love Halloween,
Yeah.
you know, so I do a lot of that, zombies and you know, voodoo dolls, that type of thing,
Mhm.
witches.
And you
Very
said you do
cool.
costume design too, or you make
I got
Uh,
a degree in costume design,
okay.
which helps with doll costumes.
Mhm.
Dolls
Have
don't
you-
talk back.
You've never worked in film or theater?
Theater,
I figured that if you're costuming.
yeah.
What made you stop?
It wasn't really what I wanted to do. I wanted to get into film. I wanted to be a matte artist, either that or an animator. And I was accepted to UCLA, but I didn't have any money. So,
You know, when I got accepted
but I
to
have had
UCLA,
my
I had
dolls
no
on
money.
stage sets on
Cool.
Oh,
children's productions.
there are quite
Well-
a few people in our group that are like have, you know, do things related to film or have things or have actors or prop people.
Yeah.
Lisa, I think it's called GEE, Lisa G. She makes a lot of props for a lot of big movies. Doug Brody is a oh crap, what do you call it when storyboard artist.
Oh, yeah.
Storyboard.
And I did a meet the creep with him one night, and I think that one's on the YouTube channel. And then like we have a girl that makes fake cakes, and she was watching
Oh.
TV and noticed there's one of her fake cakes in the scene.
Oh, wow.
And so there's just a lot of people that, you know, kind of end up doing things like that, you know.
Have you heard of
wouldn't
Anthony
realize.
Sturgis?
What's that?
Anthony Sturgis.
I don't
He's a
think-
storyboard artist, an animator and whatnot. He did the opening for us for Demon Fighter.
Mhm.
He works with Warner Brothers and a lot of big time
Mhm.
film companies and whatnot. But he did that. You may want to talk to him. I've started to think about your dolls and doing, because you said you're doing the clay animation with your dolls. I mean, there's animation right there.
I know.
You
I
just
would
got to
love to
write it
do
out.
that.
Go through.
Clay
Yeah, I've
animation
been
is so
watching a
cool.
lot of YouTube videos on how to do that. And then I follow some people on Instagram, and they show how to design it and then what to use, how to build the armature, start doing things like that. It's the filming part that I'm not comfortable with.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to learn as much as I can.
There's
Very
a,
cool.
And seeing that I'm not too old to do it, because I'm not dead yet,
No.
right?
That's right. That's right.
there's a woman in the group, her daughter is like 13 or something. She makes these dolls that are crazy. Like she made like a Chucky doll and then the Bride of Chucky doll, and they are fantastic. It's crazy. But
Wow.
there's so many talented people in the group. I love just, that's my main reason of having the group, so I can just have a place where people can go to show what they do and show what they make and stuff like that.
Sure.
But anyway, I'm going to go now over to not that page, this page. I'm going to screen share. Okay. And then you guys tell me if you can see.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
see it.
NJ.
Okay.
That's
So
Yeah.
Unicorn.
I'm going to do the Evil Down the Street trailer first. I
Okay,
thought
cool.
this movie was so good. I loved it.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see if I can make it big here.
Oh, yeah.
Looking shit out of garage sale. Fine. Supposed to be possessed, right? Are you possessed? Does mom see? Okay. At the risk of sounding like a wacko, I'm just gonna say it. Michael, your house creeps me out. Did you know that the original owner died? What do you look for? I'm staying. Explain a little bit to you about demons. You know who's inside me, preacher boy. And you heard deliverance in this. Don't forget to do your homework. My phone. You should know better than to be going through my personal belongings. What about?
So did they call you preacher boy then after this for a while?
New.
That's good.
Then let's do just the Crumbs trailer here too.
Are you hearing it correctly?
Can you hear it?
No.
We can't,
So
it's
that-
a speeding issue on our end. It comes in kind of jerky, but that's just because of the streaming.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
what I figured too. No biggie.
Yep.
Wendy, are you
Yeah.
seeing it?
I'm seeing it, but I can't really hear it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. I'm not sure how to fix that.
Yeah, you really can't. It's a streaming issue contained in Facebook. So
That actor, the tall one, Jeff Hatch. He's such a good actor. This guy
Yeah.
too.
The next town is 32 miles that way. We don't get too big business out here unless they're lost. They were lost.
My gosh, this is so good. I love the sun immediately. You cannot say no. Please. Thank you.
So if I come now, I'd stay like this. I know that. Yeah, right. Yeah. But up here.
I don't know why creepy films make me so happy. Like I just smile through the whole thing. Makes me.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't have the one for the
Demon
Demon
Fighter.
Fighter,
Oh,
but that's on your website, so you'll have to get that.
Yeah, they can see all the
Mhm.
trailers. Tell them about the tree link, Craig.
oh, well, I'd have to send it to, I think maybe I did send it to you. Gina, if not, I can't, but our Linktree link has all of our films
Oh.
there. Yeah, but
Okay.
you can also go to our website and find links to our films there, or to our YouTube channel, CRA Entertainment YouTube. So those would be options.
And are most of your films like on Amazon or?
Yeah, the main platforms, all the films are on Tubi. We like Tubi a lot. It's very user friendly. They have a lot of great content. It's free with ads to the user. And if a person is not a Tubi subscriber, you can do it in seconds. It's very, very seamless. We're also on YouTube, on several YouTube channels. You mentioned Amazon. Amazon/Freevee. Freevee used to be IMDb TV, but our platforms now kind of choice would be Tubi and YouTube. YouTube over the last few years, they have really grown. I mean, it's it's huge to begin with, of course, but those would be some of the platforms that people can see our films.
Mhm. Just watching those trailers was making me think, so how much input, or do you guys have all the input put on like music and certain things, sound effects, that kind of stuff, or costume design? Like, are you guys in charge of all that stuff?
Yes.
It's all
Yeah.
original music. Yeah, everything is created. I think we may take some. I think every now and again, Craig, we'll take something like if we need a segue, and you want to see the sun, we may grab something like that. But no,
Mhm.
Right.
we have a very good. I like the guy, Lance Warlock. Is that a name?
Yeah.
Lance
Yeah.
Warlock. He's our music composer, and yeah, he's awesome. So the costumes are all individually put together. The sets like that. Most of the time, of course, we rent the environment for the set.
Mhm.
Like the Evil Down the Street, we rented that house. The basement that you saw in the Evil Down the Street was actually 100 miles away at an old deserted reform school up in the high desert.
Right.
Yeah, at a house sitting on the property, all abandoned.
Wow.
And a lot of creepy stuff happened out there. Really creepy stuff.
Yeah.
Our makeup artist wouldn't come work with us again because she didn't like what was going on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nothing we were doing. It was just occurring around us.
Right.
It was weird stuff. So, yeah, everything we do, we put together, and that's what's cool about
That's
this.
the
Just
fun
make
part
it all
about
up.
And
Yeah.
do you have certain actors in mind for things sometimes, or you just have a what do you call it, when people come in, interview or try out and all that?
We will
hold
put
auditions.
casting notices out.
Mm,
Casting notices, what you're talking about on casting sites.
okay. Because I think there's a couple that have been in multiple films of yours, isn't there?
That's right. That's
That's
right.
because I asked him to.
'Cause I know
It
there's that
wasn't.
one woman I've seen on a couple anyway.
Jeannie's in Demon Fighter, and she's in Love and Quarantine.
Oh, okay.
NJ Brown likewise. I'm sorry. Let me.
That's okay.
And to answer your question, we'll put casting notices out, but again, with actors that we know, David and I will discuss, like, who would be good for this role.
Mhm.
And we like that because we know what to expect from them. But otherwise, we'll put casting notices out on the major casting sites.
Do you guys have any, like, your kids or relatives that are like, come to you like, I'd like to be in a movie? What about
Yeah,
me?
we tell them, yeah, you can audition like everybody else. Then they just kind of like scurry away.
Unless it's just a walk-on role, you know, somebody
Yeah.
background, crossing a door, something like
Yeah.
that. We may grab somebody right there from the set, say, hey, I need you to walk across here.
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, something like that. But no, we generally cast from auditions. And you don't have to be some SAG-AFTRA actor. You just got to be good.
Yeah.
Do you
and
think
that's-
people can get into movies without moving to LA,
Absolutely.
New York?
Absolutely. It's happening all the time. Atlanta puts out so much stuff, it's unreal. Georgia's got such an incredible industry.
Really?
Right? Yeah, it's horrendous. Even as crazy as this sounds, the Tri-Valley, Bakersfield, and Fresno area, they have a pretty thriving little film industry going on down there.
Hmm.
And these are all people just like where I'm up in Sacramento area.
Mhm,
Sacramento has a pretty strong indie community.
mhm.
There's a lot of people getting into this, wanting to do this. And we've hired actors from these areas. It doesn't matter. If you're talented, and you're going to get recognized and into something.
But I think even more noteworthy than that, one of the sisters in Evil Down the Street, she came by way of Tennessee. So she, essentially middle of the country to an extent. And Chelsea, who was in the Crumbs, was living in Utah. Utah, right, David? Was it Utah?
Yeah, Utah. She came from
Utah. So, like to David's point, if you're good, you're good, So, you don't need to be in one of these mega hubs necessarily. If you're a good actor, your talent will show.
Right. Do
Mhm.
you guys go to like these? I mean, it's not like Comic-Con, like, but I think they're Horror Con or something, and these movie festivals and stuff like that.
Did I tell you how old we were?
You
The
should
thing,
go
the
to
thi- the-
those. You'd be
well,
swamped with people.
here's the thing that,
They
and
they
you're
don't
right.
close at 7 o'clock at night.
No, where's the buffet line? But and you're right. You're right. You should be going to these things and it'd be cool. But you will find me here in my home office, if you will. And if I'm not here, I'm on set. Those are like the two places, or now with my youngest daughter, now that I'm a grandpa, it's so cool. So just out of control cool. Or in Idaho, being grandpa. There's not a lot of moving parts. And so these conventions, like you're saying, yeah, we should be going, but we haven't.
Yeah,
It's
it's
another thing you have to fit into your,
well, not just that. It's how much time and effort do
Right.
you want to put into what you're doing?
Yeah.
I have a wife and I have grandkids and kids and other things I do, but I just feel, and I'll just say this, I feel really weird hawking my own movies.
Mm.
Standing out on a corner trying to get an audience.
Yeah.
Come on in and watch the movie. You're gonna love it. Come on down. You can't wait to see it. We got pretty girls. Come on down. I mean,
You do a good
I feel
accent.
and I think I feel better when other people find the value in what we do and they say, hey, go see that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know how difficult it is to watch our movies for me and for
Yeah.
Craig?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's like pulling alligator's teeth.
Yeah.
It's tough because we know the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You lived it for how many months?
Oh,
Well, and editing and everything, like, I'll know every second of that film.
and by the
So it's
time
like,
we get that film to where Craig's talking about, we've had it with it. We
Yeah.
really don't want to see it again unless it's at a premiere that we're attending or some function. But other than that, it's like,
Yeah.
no, seen that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, pretty much.
What would you rather do, like act or be, producer, director, or you just like all of them?
That's
Go
been my
ahead,
problem.
David.
I'm an actor by nature. I've been doing that all my life since I was a kid. School plays, crap like that. But I'm an actor by nature. But I'm a teacher. It's a natural thing for me to teach, and directing is teaching. And so I love directing, but I also want to be an actor. The problem is acting in your own films that you're directing. It's a double burden. It gets difficult. I don't want to do that. I want to act, but I want somebody else to direct it.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
that's a problem. That's a problem. Craig has been in the films, as you know. He was in The Evil Down the Street. He plays the neighbor.
Mhm.
Excellent job. He's in the Crumbs. He plays the mysterious guy in the woods.
Yeah,
But
the woodsman.
the woodsman. I was in both of those, and it gets a bit much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It gets a bit much, but I love it all. That's the sick
Well,
part.
I would say this along David's lines. If we came up with a good story that we both really felt this is something we want to do acting wise, because like what David is saying, between directing and my role on set as producer to keep the parade moving, that anything that needs to go on, that's, my fingerprints are all over that. But if we came up with something that we both really had passion about and said that this is in CRA's best interest, that we should do this, we would figure it all out, because I think that would be a cool thing to do. If it just played out that way, we've kicked that idea around a few times, but the right story just hasn't come to fruition, at least not quite yet.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Do you have anything in the works right now? Or a
We have
secret?
several scripts, huh?
Yeah, we have several we're kicking around. We've been just really busy marketing our films that are out there.
Mhm.
But yeah, we have several stories that we're mulling over.
Very cool. Wendy, did you have any questions or anything you wanted to ask, or?
I'm just blown away. It's like, wow, I'm talking to directors and producers. This is great.
Well, we're blown away. We're talking to a doll maker, so this is I think it's cool for
I'm
all
a
of us.
writer too. I had my
And a
first
writer. See, look at it. Goes on
short
and
story
on.
published a year ago, 2 years ago.
A book?
Short story.
Oh, very
But
cool.
it was paranormal.
Very cool.
Cool.
And a lot of people look at me as like, you wrote that? And I'm like, it's another side of me. Come on.
That's right. Come on. I'm not
They're
just,
just
a pretty
projecting.
face.
Remember that. They're just projecting.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
can't see how they could possibly do it, so how could you?
Well, this is true. Okay.
We did a story slam thing in the group like a year ago, and had a bunch of people write short stories, and then we read them to each other in a Zoom thing.
Uh-huh.
Like we had all the lights turned off, so it was just our computer screens.
Oh.
And it
Oh.
was super fun. There was a lot of good writers. I was
Yeah,
like,
right on. Right on. Yeah.
so I don't know if there's anything else you want to tell us about or anything going on, but I really liked having you guys here. It was super fun.
That was
Thanks, we
cool.
enjoyed
This
being
is
here.
nice.
Just-
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm glad you came on. And if you ever want to just post in the group anything about your movies or whatever, you feel free to do it, because
Thank
Right
you.
on. Thank you, Gina.
I love
We
it when
will.
people just post away.
if you
Beautiful.
think you would enjoy having some of the actors or other people on your show, we could certainly arrange that for you.
Oh, that would be
I think
awesome.
they would love talking with
Yeah,
you.
we can do that.
Yeah, so we could do that. You tell us who you would like to interview and we'll see about setting it up.
That'd be
Mhm.
awesome.
All right.
Yeah, and maybe I could do a because there's a couple others. Well, there's one girl for sure I know that she was a Rockette for quite a few years,
Ah,
and she lives in New York and she does acting. We've talked about having her on, and then maybe there's a couple other ones in there too. We could have multiple people or something.
yeah,
That would be very
actor
cool.
night.
Yeah.
Just let us know and
awesome.
we'll let them know.
I will. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks
Nice
for
to meet you,
supporting
Regina.
me and my group.
I'm gonna go
Right
watch your
on.
movies this week. That's
Yeah.
my
Thank you.
goal.
There you
Now
go.
remember, we have one rule about watching our movies.
Yeah.
You don't have to like it. However,
Wow.
if you do, please tell everybody.
Yeah.
If
Oh,
you
most
don't,
definitely.
yeah, if you don't like it, don't even tell anybody you saw it. Just-
Okay.
Don't even mention it.
Well, it's like your mom told you growing up. You have nothing good to say, keep it to yourself. Otherwise, tell everybody.
Oh,
Okay.
I got one more question. Is what's your favorite scary movie? Like of all?
For me, it's Exorcist.
Yeah.
It'd be Amityville and The Exorcist between those two. I liked them both. They both scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Even though I'm watching Frankenstein meets Abbott and Costello this weekend on Svengoolie. It was
Nice.
Frankenstein's Bride last week. I don't know if you know who Svengoolie is.
Oh, yeah.
Right on. I've talked to people, they don't know who Svengoolie is. I'm going, you're kidding me. How
I'm
could you be
60.
in horror and not know who Svengoolie is? Good God. Anyway, so yeah, and you know how they go, Svengoolie movies. I mean, yeah, so he just tears them up, makes fun of them and whatnot, but it's all right. It's cool movies.
What do you
Right
think,
on.
Wendy? What's one of your favorite movies?
Oh, gosh. The Birds
Yeah.
and Alien.
I
Oh,
loved
okay.
Alien.
Alien scared the pants off me.
Yeah,
It wasn't
Yeah,
like
understandable.
Jaws because you had the theme music coming around. Okay,
Yeah.
the thing is coming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alien. Oh boy, that was, yeah.
Oh, so
One of my
great.
favorites is always going to be, which you mentioned, Poltergeist. Because I was pretty young when that came out and I saw it in the theater and I
Loved
was like, just scared the crap out of me.
yeah, love
Sure.
the movie.
Yeah,
And I can still watch it many times and I love it every single time.
I agree.
Yeah.
And the newer one I love is Midsummer. Have you seen
Oh, I
that?
haven't seen it.
Not seen it.
That is so good.
Gonna have
I'll
to
make
watch
a
it.
point. Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. It's quite weird and scary,
Very
and
cool.
creepy, and yeah, it's very good.
Very
Alrighty
cool.
then. Well,
Thank you.
Thank you, Gina.
again,
Thank you, Wendy.
and
Nice to meet you.
Nice to
nice
meet
meet
you.
guys, and have a great night.
You too, ladies. Have a
And
good
good
night.
luck with your
Thank you.
future filmmaking.
Peace.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye
everybody.
now.
Bye, Wendy.
Night.